Okay, I think it has been omitted then. It has been omitted from the syllabus, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So acid, bases, and salt you have completed. Respiration in organisms. Physical and chemical changes. What about that chapter?
That is also done, sir.
Okay. This or like transportation in plants is going on. Now, look, there's a batch going for class 7 already. In
Yes, sir.
that batch, I have already taught chapter number 1. Chapter number 2 has also been completed. Chapter number 3, heat, has also been completed. Acid, bases, and salts completed. Chapter
Mhm.
number 5, that has been completed. Respiration in organisms is completed. Transportation in animals and plants, that chapter is yet to be taught in that class.
Still no
Then,
problem. I can do it. I think it's gonna come in my finals.
okay, okay. My camera is turning off again and again. Let me
So,
fix this.
sir, what time is the batch?
The batch time is it's 7:30. Okay, now
7:30.
Hell, the batch
Six.
time is somewhere around. Let me quickly check that.
Wait, sir.
Uh,
I get that.
Okay, just give me a second.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's. Mhm. Hold on for a moment.
I'll check, sir.
It's 8:30 p.m. Okay,
In
it's
my in my place,
in your place here in India. It's 8:30 p.m. Okay,
8th.
8:30
Sir,
p.m.
it will be 6:30 in my timing.
So will you be available at that time?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, huh. First, let me give you an overview of what are the things that is going on currently in that batch. Okay. Then there's in chapter number 8, it's going on.
8, yes.
That is going on. Motion and time, that has been motion and
Sorry,
time
sir,
that
your
has.
voice is lagging.
Am I audible now?
No, sir, it's still lagging, kind of.
Yeah, hope it's better now.
You're inaudible, inaudible. I can't hear you.
Okay, okay. Hold on for a moment.
Hello?
Yeah, Tehsin, am I audible to you now? Can you hear me now? I will be rejoining. Wait for a moment, okay?
No, sir, I can't hear you.
No, okay, okay, hold on for a moment.
Oh,
Yeah, Tehsin, am I audible to you now? Yeah, Tehsin, can you hear me now? Hello. Am I audible in the class? Hello. Okay, let me see. There's some issue. Yeah, am I audible to you now, Tehsin? अभी भी नहीं आ रही है. Okay. हेलो. आवाज नहीं आ पा रही है ना? ओके ओके. ओके, एक मिनट एक मिनट. Yeah, Tehsin, can you hear me now?
Sorry, sir. No, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Hello.
I'll be back in some seconds, sir.
Yeah, am I audible now? Yeah, Tehsin, can you hear me now? Hello. 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 Yeah, Tehsin, am I audible now? Can you hear me now? Hello. Yeah, Tehsin, can you hear me now? Hello. No, it's still not working. Yeah, hello. Yeah, Tehsin, please do let me know if I'm audible right now. अभी आ रही पास मेरी हेलो हेलो Yeah, am I audible now?
Hello?
Yeah, Tehsin, am I audible to you now? Hello. I'm still not audible.
Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Okay, I'm audible
A little bit.
a little bit. Okay, please do let me know. Uh, now, Tehsin, am I audible now?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, now am I audible to you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I don't know what just happened today, but the mic is not really working today. Okay. So sorry for the interruption. Anyway, so let's continue. So
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. So chapter number 9, that is about to be discussed, as in. Then chapter number 10, that is also about to be discussed. Okay, now. Similarly, chapter number 11, that is light, has been completed. Chapter number 13 has been completed, while chapter number 12 has to be completed. So you see, in the ongoing batch, 3 chapters have been
What, sir?
completed. In the ongoing batch, okay, of the 7th class, 3 chapters have
Sir,
been.
I can't hear you.
Again, I'm not audible.
Now you're audible. It just sped up. No, only we started. We are only halfway through the chapter 8. We learned till 1 minute. I'll unmute.
Mhm. Okay, that is okay. We will. I'm going to continue from the same chapter. Chapter, that is chapter number 8.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
ma'am.
We studied till natural vegetative propagation.
Now you'll be studying about the artificial means of vegetative propagation.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
We're gonna. We already started that today, but today I was absent because I was not feeling well.
Okay, okay, okay. No, sure. So let's do one thing. As of now, we will be integrating you with the same batch. Okay, see if it works for you. Okay, there you have got 3 other students are also there. There is Sundus, Vaika, and Chakrika. Okay, so thereby I think you will get a competitive environment also
So, Vaiga in India or Kuwait?
from India,
Oh,
from
okay. I have one
from Kerala.
student in Vaiga in my class. That's why.
Okay, okay, no, she's from Kerala.
Mm, okay.
Okay, okay, let's continue. This was the ongoing batch in which the chapter was started. Okay, so in this chapter, basically these are the contents of the chapter which we have to study. Like,
Yes, sir.
what are the modes of reproduction in plants? There are mainly 2 modes of reproduction in plants, namely sexual mode of reproduction and then the asexual mode of reproduction, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, normally we know that in the
1 minute,
sexual
sir.
mode
I'll
of
close my
reproduction,
door.
okay, okay.
Yeah, sir. Now.
Mhm. In the in the sexual mode of reproduction, in the case of plants, we get to see that the seeds takes participate. Yeah, you have the pollination taking place there, right? After
Yes, sir.
pollination, the formation of fruits takes place. When the flower is fertilized, the formation of fruits take place, and inside the fruit you have got seeds. You have seeds inside the fruit, right? And later on, when these seeds are dispersed, when these seeds are sown in the ground, so then a new plant emerges from it. So this was the mode of sexual reproduction in plants, right? While when a new plant is grown from parts other than the seed, like for example, if a new plant is grown using stem of a plant, or if a new plant were to be grown using the leaves, using the roots, or using the tubers,
Sir,
right?
in my last year reader, when we were learning about plants, we saw the activity that if you cut the top of a carrot and then like put it in water, it will grow again.
Huh. If you were to cut the top of the carrot, this
Yes,
will
and
be.
then you can keep the top of the carrot in the water.
Mhm.
1 minute, sir.
Okay.
1 minute, I'll give this to my mom.
Okay, okay, no, sure.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay, no issue. Right now. So the example that you were giving was one of the example of asexual modes of reproduction in plants, where there is no participation of seeds in the growth of new plants. The growth of new plants is taking from parts other than the seeds, right? So basically, the chapter is reproduction in plants. Okay. So when I say no, the reproduction, like normally a human being or a plant requires these processes in order to stay alive, right, Nancy? It needs to take food, it needs to
Yes.
digest, it needs to absorb it, right? It needs to do the process of assimilation, and then finally the waste material is excreted out from the body. Yeah. So these are not the process that are required by an organism to stay alive, right? But then, is there any role of reproduction in the lifespan of a living organism to stay alive?
Yes, sir. Some like humans and mammals.
Look here, in order to just stay alive, सिर्फ जिंदा रहने के लिए, we need these steps. We need to take in food, we need to digest that food, we need to absorb it, we need to distribute it to different parts of the body, and then finally excrete the waste material that is called as digestion. So these are the functions performed by an organism to stay alive, right?
Yes, sir.
But then the thing is now, these are the functions done by an individual organism to stay alive. If I were to talk about population as a whole, huh?
What, sir? Sorry.
If I were to talk of a population, अगर मैं population की बात करता हूँ, like for
ठीक.
example, take example of a human. A human can stay alive by performing these functions, by performing just these functions. But in
Yes.
order for the population of humans to strive,
Mm-hmm.
humans के population के बढ़ने के लिए, for that purpose, the process of reproduction is required, right?
Yes.
So basically, you know that all organisms multiply to reproduce their own kind. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
right. So an organism will giving birth to its same kind. So
Yes, sir.
just like you have got modes of reproduction in the animal world में भी हमारे पास दो modes है reproduction के.
Mhm.
That is sexual mode of reproduction and asexual mode of reproduction is seen there also.
So, laying eggs is asexual, and I don't know, but like mammals do the, I don't
Mhm.
know how mammals do it, but I know how the birds and insects do it. Like they lay the eggs.
Look, basically that
I
is
don't know
out
how
of.
the mammals do it, sir.
Mhm. Okay, look here. There are different ways in which fertilization of the egg takes place. The example that you're quoting now, that is post-fertilization event in the case of animals. Reproduction is basically that process in which now, usually if I were to talk about sexual mode of reproduction,
Mm-hmm.
like in simple terms, known we know that reproduction is the process by which organisms multiply to
Yes, sir.
produce their own kind. They
Yes.
multiply or reproduce their own kind. Further, it is of two types, sexual and asexual mode. In sexual mode, there are two parents required. One male, another female is required, right?
Mm-hmm.
While in asexual reproduction, we don't need two partners. Only one individual can perform the reproduction here,
So even males.
whether male or female, right? So
Okay.
only one individual is required in the process of asexual reproduction. Now, talking
Okay.
about
Sir,
the
can I note this down?
first, let me complete the discussion. Then you will just take the screenshot. You can write it
Yes.
down later.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now. Then, as I was saying, in the case of sexual reproduction, there are two parents required, male and female.
Yes,
And
sir.
male and female, like in the case of humans, right? They have got different um, different sex cells, right? Like the female have ovum, male have sperm.
What, sir?
Ovum and sperm.
Ovum and sperm.
Yeah. So these
So
two
the
actually.
different genders have different cells.
Yeah, exactly. Different genders have different cells that takes part in the process of reproduction, right? So thereby what happens now? The sperm and ovum, they combine together to form the zygote, right? Then what happens later on? Zygote develops into an embryo, and embryo develops into a baby, right?
Yes, sir.
This whole process is the manner in which reproduction takes place in human beings, right? Now there are different events of reproduction also, which I would not be going there, but since you were mentioning about the eggs now, so I thought I would be touching this point over here. Like, reproduction is up to here only. Once the fertilization has taken place, अभी तक हमने reproduction कहा है इसे, like sperm and ovum has fertilized to form zygote. After the fertilization, now the growth of the baby takes place. So that is
Yes,
the post fertilization event, the events that takes place after the fertilization, right?
yes, sir.
Anyways, come back, let's come back to the topic. So
Yes.
just like you have different type of reproduction in the organisms, what about
Mm-hmm.
apart from human beings? If I were to take example of a bacteria called amoeba,
Amoeba.
amoeba, that's a bacteria, right? A unicellular
Yes.
bacteria, right? So an
Yes.
amoeba multiplies by simply splitting into two halves. You have a
Yeah, amoeba splits into two half and makes birth.
and gives birth to two daughter cells. Yeah. So look over here. Like you have an amoeba like this. Later on, starts splitting, and then finally splits into two.
So, sir, the mother or the father, like, no, not gender, but like the parent, it becomes smaller in size.
Not necessarily smaller in size. This is the first diagram. This is the second diagram, third, and the fourth. Okay. So basically,
Yes.
the parent cell starts to split like this. As you can see, they have
Mhm.
started to split, and then splits into two cells. So these are called as daughter cells. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So look how from one cell, from one organism, there is a formation of two organisms,
Yes, sir.
right? So here we get to see like the daughter cells now will be identical to the parent cells. Uh, there is only one partner here. यहाँ पे सिर्फ
Mhm.
एक partner है, that is splitting into two halves,
Mhm.
and then we get to see that the daughter cells will be identical to each other. They will be basically clone. They
Yes,
are
sir.
right. While
Yeah,
in the
but like in the humans, like if parents, like if the female gives birth, the female girl will look like a little bit like her mom,
Hmm.
not entirely like little bit, but in here also like it's fully like they look like them.
Exactly. So here we are getting to see now, in the case of reproduction in humans, the child receives characteristics from both the parents, right?
Yes,
While in this case, the daughter cells are identical to each other as well. And if I were to compare them to their parents, they are identical to their parents also. But now the
yes,
parent is no more now because the parent has basically split it into two halves, right?
yes.
So this is the case of reproduction, about the sexual and asexual reproduction, right? So here we were talking about the classification in the animal world. हम अभी animal world के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, right? Tessie?
Yes, yes, sir.
Like you have got different two modes of reproduction in animal world. You have two modes of reproduction in plants also. One is the
Two more.
two modes, modes.
Okay.
We have two modes of reproduction in the plant world also. So one is the sexual and another one is the asexual reproduction, right?
Yes,
So our main concern is sexual asexual reproduction first. Later on, we will be talking about the sexual modes of reproduction, right?
yes, sir.
So first, we'll be talking about the asexual reproduction, then the sexual reproduction. So
Yes,
there are different methods by which asexual reproduction is done by an organism, by a plant. Okay.
yes,
Also, uh, fix one more thing. My camera keeps turning off. I will have to fix this.
Yes, sir, because you are keeping the screen, your minimized video away. That's why it's turning off.
Maybe it is because of that. Anyways, so as moments ago I told you, like reproduction ensures the continuity of this species, right?
Yes,
In order for an organism to stay alive, the reproduction is not necessary. It can survive without reproduction. While in order for the continuity of the species of that organism, reproduction is necessary,
yes,
right?
sir.
So that they keep on multiplying and the population grows, right? Then let's jump to the asexual mode of reproduction,
Sir,
right?
we are going to have test. You told
Mhm.
uh, you told if we are gonna have test on nutrition and plants.
Yeah, I have got the test paper. Okay, but it will be in some other classes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now because I thought how about to integrate you in the batch first, then surely we'll be having a test. Now,
Yes,
that in the plant world also now, like there are two different types of plants. One is the autotrophic, one is the heterotrophic, right?
yes, sir.
Right, Tasu? So out of the two now, the heterotrophic plants will be we will get to see like in what manner heterotrophic plants do reproduction, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
all of them will be doing asexual mode of reproduction.
Yeah, sir. But
Yeah.
how is it? How is the asexual production reproduction worked?
How it worked for the
Yes, sir.
plants. Huh. Look at that.
Sir, is it there for humans also?
No, that is not for humans. Humans
Okay.
participate in the sexual reproduction. Yeah. Okay. Even if you have examples of like a test tube baby, आपने सुना होगा test tube baby के बारे में. So there also, no, the zygote formation actually took place in the sexual reproduction manner. Anyways, that is also that I have included that topic also in the class. I will be discussing that also. Now
Yes.
come back to the topic. Like in heterotrophic plants, there are different methods by which they reproduce. So you have different examples of heterotrophic plants. Like you have example of yeast plant, yeast cell. That is the type of plant. Then you have examples of like this. You have example of spirogyra or lichens or sponges,
Mm-hmm.
right now. Then you have example of fungus, ferns.
Fragmentation.
Yeah, fragmentation will
So,
be seen.
what is fragmentation?
First, let's continue with the budding. Then I will be coming after this to the fragmentation part.
Yes.
Uh, So see, you have an example of a yeast cell. Okay. Now what will happen? There will be an outgrowth from the parent cell. See this outgrowth.
Yes, sir.
Later on, it grows on to become a bud, right? And
Yes.
then later on, few more buds start to grow on it, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
then it will detach from the parent cell. And later
And
on,
like kind of like amoeba.
not kind of amoeba, amoeba simply splits into two halves now. While in the case of yeast cell, now there's a small outgrowth first. It goes into a bud, and then it starts to form few more buds, and then all the buds will detach from the parent cells, and they will start growing individually
In yeast.
in yeast, right? And
Sir,
yeast for
basically, I never really understood what is yeast. Like
yeast.
we use it for cooking also, but I don't understand.
ओके अपने अपने खमीर के बारे में सुना है? खमीर
नहीं.
नहीं. Okay, look here. Like in the bakery now, yeast powder is added in the dough.
In
uh,
the pizza dough.
In the pizza dough also, it is added. Why? When we see now the base of the pizza, it is very fluffy and soft,
Yes, sir.
while the normal chapati that is cooked from the dough, it is not that much fluffy now.
Yes, sir.
It is somewhat harder.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so? Because yeast powder has been added in it. Yeast powder has been added in it. Now what happens when I add yeast powder in it now? Dough has got moisture in it. इसमें moisture भी होता है, right? Because we have added water. So yeast cells are getting moisture from it. From environment, it is getting some amount of warmth,
Yes, sir.
right? Under these conditions, yeast cells start to divide like this, as you can see over here, right? It
Yes, sir.
starts to divide, plus
Inside the door.
it starts the process of respiration also. Remember respiration,
Yes, sir.
right? So thereby what will happen? The yeast will be eating the dough. So thereby, in the process of respiration, it will release carbon dioxide. So due to the formation of carbon dioxide in this dough, the dough inflates basically. It expands and becomes fluffy and soft. Yeah.
Ah,
For example, if you were to have a donor and if you were to fill air in it, it will basically expand now.
yes,
So
sir.
it's the same thing. The carbon dioxide formation leads to
So,
expansion of.
so basically, with the warmth, it will just fluff up because the yeast is taking the process of respiration. So
Mhm.
that's why the whenever we make the pizza dough, it tells to keep it in the fridge or like outside for some time.
For some time, so that we need to allow the yeast cells to multiply
So the
and
more
do the process of
keep
respiration.
it, so the more you keep it outside, the more soft it will become.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
And that is what is the process of budding. Why budding? Because a bud is developing here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then you have got the fragmentation. Fragmentation is also an asexual mode of reproduction. Here, an individual organisms will break into fragments after some time. Okay.
Yes.
For example, you have this lichens, right? The
Kitchen.
pollution makers. Solutions are found on dead trunks.
Yes,
Oh,
sir. It's fungi and algae.
algae, combination of fungi and algae, they are sharing a symbiotic relationship here, right?
Yes.
So this will split into different parts like this: part one, part two, part three, and each of them, see over here, it has splitted into three parts, and later
Mhm.
on, each part has started to grow into a new organism, into a new individual,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And each individual will be cloned to the parent cell. They will be
Mm.
identical to each other. So that is about fragmentation, right? Don't confuse fragmentation with regeneration. Okay, now, like in the case of lizards, if the tail of the lizard cuts away, okay, lizard की tail कट जाती है, after some time it regrows the tail, right?
Yes, sir.
So in regeneration only,
Sir, can you explain the fragmentation again? I did not understand it.
sure. See, you have an organism like this lichen.
Mm.
Okay? Say it breaks into fragments, into three fragments, right? So now each fragment will grow into a new lichen. Second one will also grow. Third one will
Oh,
also like this. So now this is about fragmentation. Okay, now
it
hope
will
you're
split. It will
yeah,
fragment, like it will split and make new plants.
exactly. It will basically fragment and then form into a new plant. This is
Yes.
what basically happens, right? Okay then. After fragmentation, you have example of you have the spore formation. Like we all have seen the bread molds now. We all have seen bread mold,
Yes, sir.
the fungus that grows on the bread. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So when I were to view it under a microscope, na Tehseen, I saw that this is how it looks like. This is the microscopic view. ये क्या
Yes.
माइक्रोस्कोपी है एक ब्रेड मोल्ड की, right? Now look at this bulb-like structures. Yeah. So this bulb-like structures now contains spores in it. These
Oh,
tiny round-like structures inside this bulb that you see,
yes, sir.
these tiny bulb-like structures that you see over here, these are called as spores. S-P-O-R-E-S. Now what will happen? The bulb-like structure will explode after some time, and the spores are spread into the surrounding. Yeah.
That's
They are
mold.
yeah, basically ना bread mold के structure को हम study कर रहे हैं. Yeah. So here I get to see that their structure looks like this, and the bulb-like structure consists of spores in it, right? So after
Yes.
some time, the bulb-like structure will explode, and the spores started coming out of it. Now wherever these spores will land, they will start to form a new bread mold. जहाँ भी ये spores land करेंगी, now it
Mhm.
will go into a new fungus. Getting it
Yes.
now? So this is how it basically takes place, right?
Yes, sir.
This is an example. This is a structure of a bread mold, and ये roots like structure को हम hypha कहते हैं. We call it as hypha actually. Okay now.
Yes,
This
sir.
is bread mold. What other examples are there for spore formation? In the case of ferns also. Right now, ferns क्या है? It is basically a type of plant also, right?
Yes, sir.
Hope it is clear. Any confusion in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we move on to the vegetative propagation. Yeah. Now, in order to get this thing clear about the vegetative propagation, there are few basic things you need to know. In vegetative propagation, we are basically going to study about the reproduction in plants where it takes place from parts other than seeds here also, because vegetative propagation is also a asexual type of reproduction. Yeah.
Yes.
Where we get to see that new plants can be grown from the roots, from the stems, leaves, or from buds.
Yes,
Like
sir.
seen, I can simply cut the stem of a rose plant and then grow it into a new rose plant. Or you
Yes.
have example of bryophyllum leaves, right?
Yes.
That develops buds on its edges, and that bud can grow into a new bryophyllum plant, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Further, vegetative propagation has been classified into two parts. One is the natural vegetative propagation. Second one is the artificial vegetative propagation.
Yes,
Like
sir.
if the growth of plant takes place from these parts naturally, अगर plants की growth naturally हो रही है इन parts से, so it is natural propagation. Or if
Yes.
there is a human intervention, like I am intentionally cutting the leaves of the plant and then growing a new plant from it. I'm intentionally cutting the stem of the rose plant and then planting it and then growing a new rose plant. So that will
Yes.
be called artificial vegetative propagation, where there's
Yeah,
a
one of
human
the
intervention.
example is the carrot head
Huh,
grow.
that is also one
We
of the
are
example.
doing this activity in our class, like we are growing plants.
Oh, great. Okay. Hmm. There were a few basic things which you need to be aware of. Okay. First of all, before we jump to the discussion of natural and artificial vector propagation, first let's get to know about the types of root system. Okay.
Yes,
The
sir.
reason why I'm discussing it, because later on you will continuously be hearing about this term adventitious roots. अब
Yes, sir.
वापस सुनेंगे adventitious roots के बारे में. So let's finish this thing. Usually we know that there are two types of root system, tap root and the adventitious root system. Okay.
Last year, sir, we only learned about the taproot and the fibrous roots.
A fibrous roots is one of the type of adventitious roots actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't learn about this yet.
Okay, you will be learning it today then. You can see. So you have the taproot system in which I get to see that there will be a main root that will be growing at the base of the stem, like this you see. So
Main.
main root grows from the base of the plant,
Okay, sir.
right? Second thing is that have a look at this seed. Yeah, that is the seed of let's say moong. Now,
Yes, sir.
when the seeds germinates now, there are two different sets of tissues arising from the seed.
Mhm.
You must have seen there's a white tissue that comes out of it, and then some green tissue that comes out of it. And they are respectively called as plumule and radicle.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
this greenish tissue, most probably you can guess, like it is going to later on form the shoot system of the plant. Yeah, that's
Yes,
it.
sir.
So that's called as plumule. Then you have got this whitish tissue that comes out of the seed. Later on, it develops into the root system of that plant. So this thing is called as radicle. Let me rewrite this. It is radicle. Remember this term because I will be using it again and again. Radical.
Yes.
Now, when I look at different types of plants where there's a growth of main root at the base of the stem.
Yes,
For
sir.
example, you have examples of like radish, turnip, carrot, right now. Some other plants are also there. उनके main roots होते हैं. So
Turnips.
turnips also, right? So here I get to see, no, Tehsil, like the main root that is seen over here, it has actually grown from the radicle.
Yes,
It
sir.
has grown from the radicle, right?
Mhm.
When the seed of this plant germinated, so the radicle formed the main root system over here,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. Now look at examples of grass plant. Yeah. Have a look at the example of the grass plants. So in grasses, I get to see that grasses grow like this now. Have a look at this diagram. Yeah. See this diagram? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There is a continuous chain of grasses that are connected to each other, right?
Yes, sir.
Say one of the grasses is the main grass here, and from
Okay.
this main grasses, the several grasses are connected, and each of them will be having their own roots, no? Like this. They will be having roots
Yes, sir.
like this. To see that this main plant would have grown from a seed, let's say, while the while the grass adjacent to the main plant here,
Mhm.
they haven't grown from seeds actually. The roots or the plant that hasn't grown from the seed.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
now back to the previous diagram. So in the case of those plants now whose root systems have not developed from the radicle, okay, first
Yes,
have
sir.
few more examples, then it will be more clear. Take the example of the bryophyllum leaves. So look here, in the case of this bryophyllum leaves tehsil, I get to see that these birds that grows on the edges of the bryophyllum leaves now, they will also develop the root system.
Yes, sir.
So has their roots developed from the radicle? Are these roots developed from the seeds? Are these roots, as seen in the bryophyllum plants, have they developed from the radicle of the seed?
Yes, sir.
Now think of this question, and that's a question here. कि ब्रायोफाइलम के लीव्स में जो birds growth होती है right now, these
Yes,
birds
sir.
will later on grow into a new plant. So these fibrous structure you see, these are the roots here. So
Yes, sir.
so are these roots actually developing from the radicle of the seed? What do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
Uh, the question is that, for example, in the bryophyllum leaves, as I can see that roots develops from